Grinch play, the 2017 rendition of How the Grinch Stole Christmas. What my homeroom has done for 20 years is basically they're given a script and they're given about 5 or 6 lines. And it's up to them to keep your attention as they are saying their line. As you see, there's no props. It's just how they've decided to present their line as part of the show that's going to fit in with all the rest of the characters in 6W this year. And I must say, every year it's different, every year it's really fun. But I must say, this group has been probably the most moving around group. The more sliding on the floor and so forth. We do have 2 students missing yesterday and today. So think about that. They have to have their lines memorized, and all of a sudden they're given new lines. And this was like a couple hours before they presented this for their parents. And everybody like, I know, I'll volunteer and so forth. So if there's any pause within the script, it's probably because it wasn't really their line. So they're filling in for other people, and they did awesome yesterday. Let's give them a warm welcome. And we will start.
Every Who down in Whoville liked Christmas a lot.
But the Grinch, who lived just north of Whoville,
did not!
The Grinch hated Christmas, the whole Christmas season.
Now please don't ask why. No one quite knows the reason.
It could be that his head wasn't screwed on too straight.
It could be perhaps that his shoes are too tight.
But I think the most likely reason of all is that his heart was 2 sizes too small.
But whatever the reason, his heart or his shoes, he stood there on Christmas Eve hating the Who's.
Staring down from his cave with a sour, Grinchy frown at the warm-lighted windows below his town.
For he knew every Who down in Whoville beneath was busy now hanging their mistletoe wreaths. And they're hanging their stockings.
He snarled with a sneer.
Tomorrow is Christmas. It's practically here.
Then he growled with his Grinch fingers nervously drumming.
I must find some way to stop Christmas from coming.
For tomorrow he knew.
All the Who girls
And boys.
would wake bright and early and rush for their toys, and then, oh, the noise!
The one thing he hated, the noise. Then the Who's young and old would sit down to feast, and they'd feast, and they'd feast, and they'd feast.
They'd feast on Who pudding and Who roast beast.
Which was something the Grinch couldn't stand in the least. And then there would be something he liked least of all. Every Who down in Whoville,
The tall,
and the small,
Would stand close together with Christmas bells ringing.
they'd stand hand in hand and the Who's would start singing.
they would sing, and they'd sing, and they'd sing. And the more the Grinch thought of this Who Christmas sing, the more the Grinch thought,
I must stop this whole thing. Why, for 53 years I put up with this now. I must stop Christmas from coming, but how?
Then he got an idea.
An awful idea.
The Grinch got a wonderful,
Awful idea. I know just what I'll do. The Grinch laughed in his throat and he made a quick Santa Claus hat and a coat. He chuckled and he clapped.
With this coat and this hat, I'll look just like Saint Nick. All I need is a reindeer.
The Grinch looked around, and since reindeer were scarce, there were none to be found.
Did that stop the Grinch?
No!
The Grinch just said,
If I can't find a reindeer, I'll make one instead. So he called his dog Max.
Whistle noise! Whistle noise!
Then he grabbed some red thread and tied a big bowl on top of his head.
Then he loaded some bags and some old empty sacks on Ramshackle's sleigh and hitched a woman.
And the Grinch said, "Giddy up!" And the sleigh started down towards the coast.
All the windows were dark.
Light snow filled the air.
All the Who's were all dreaming sweet dreams without care.
When he came to the first little house on the square, this is stop number 1.
The old Grinchy Claus hissed as he climbed to the roof of the bag.
And he slid down the chimney.
A rather tight fit.
But if Santa could do it.
And so could the Grinch.
He got stuck only once for a minute or 2. Then he stuck his head out, the fireplace flew. Hello.
Where the little Who stockings all hung in a row.
These stockings
He grinned.
are the first thing to go.
Then he slithered a slunk with a smile most unpleasant around the whole room, and he took every present. Puffins
And bicycles.
rose gates,
Jumps, checkerboards.
tricycles,
Popcorn.
and plums.
Then he stuffed them in bags, and the Grinch very nimbly stuffed all the bags one by one up the chimney.
Then he slunked up the icebox. He took the Who's feast.
He took the Who's pudding.
He took the roast beast.
Clean up that icebox as much as flash. Well, the Grinch even took the last can of Who hash.
He stuffed all the food up the chimney with glee.
And now,
The Grinch.
I will stop up the tree.
When the Grinch grabbed the tree and he started to shove is when he heard a small sound, like the coo of a duck.
And he saw a small Who.
Little Cindy Lou Who, who was not more than 2. The Grinch had been caught by his tiny Who daughter who had gone to bed for a cup of cold water.
She stared at the Grinch and said, Santa Claus, why? Why are you taking up Well, everybody knows the Grinch was so smart and so slick. He thought up a lie and he thought of it quick. The fake Santa Claus lied.
There's a light on this tree that won't light on this side, on the other side. So I'm taking it back to my workshop, my dear. I'll fix it up there and bring it back here.
And if it fooled a child, then he patted her head and got a drink and sent her to bed.
When Cindy Lou Who went to bed with her cup, he went to the chimney and stuffed the tree up.
The last thing he took was a log from the fire.
He went up the chimney himself, the old liar.
On the walls he left nothing but some hooks and some wire.
The lunch that the food he left in the house was a crumb that was even too small for a mouse.
Then he did the same thing to the other Who's houses.
Leaving crumbs much too small for the other crumb.
It was 15:15 dawn.
All the Who's still in bed.
All the Who's still asleep.
When he packed up his sled.
He packed it up with their presents.
The ribbons,
Wrappings, the tags,
the tinsel,
The trimmings.
the trappings.
3,000 feet up on the side of Mount Crumpet, he rose up and up to the tip-top to trumpet.
Poo-poo to the woos.
Here's interesting, honey.
They're finding out now that no Christmas is coming. They're just waking up. I know just what they do. Their mouths will hang open in a minute or two. And all the Who's down in Whoville will all cry boo-hoo.
Now that's a sound I simply must hear.
So he paused and the Grinch put a hand to his ear.
And he did hear the sound rising over the snow. It started in low and it started to grow.
But that sound wasn't sad.
Why, this sound sounded merry.
It couldn't be so.
But it was Mary.
He stared down at Whoville. The Grinch popped his eyes, then he shook. What he saw was a shocking surprise. Every Who down in Whoville,
The tall.
and the small, was singing without any presents at all. He hadn't stopped Christmas from coming.
It came! Somehow or other, it came just the same.
And the Grinch said, "Does the Grinch be ice cold in the snow?" How could it be so? A king without ribbons, a king without tags, a king without packages, boxes, or bags.
The Grinch puzzled for 3 hours till his puzzle was short. Then the Grinch started saying, "We had it before." Maybe Christmas, he thought, doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas means a little bit more.
And what happened then?
Well, in Whoville they say that the Grinch's small heart grew 3 sizes that day.
And the minute his heart didn't feel quite so tight, he whizzed with his load through the bright morning light.
And he brought back the toys and the food for the feast. And he himself, the Grinch carved the roast beast.
We had lots of wonderful performances. Thank you guys all very much. You did awesome. Thank you guys all for being here. What do you guys tell them? If our parents and visitors want to, I would want to leave.